So, like I said before, I am not a pro or a body guy, so you can kick me if you want, but I make mistakes. So anyways, the mistake I made was I started on the trunk back there, and not knowing the product that I'm working with, and just going off of what people tell you on the internet and what you see on the internet, um, I started out with 220 on the deck lid here, and it didn't seem like it was cutting, and I asked someone about it and they said that they usually start with like a 120. So after doing the 200 for a while, I was noticing that the pink, that the guide coat that's in this primer wasn't disappearing like it's supposed to, or like they say it does on the internet. And what I found was I just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the product, and the pink was not going away in some of the spots. It's like I'm running into more pink underneath, like the layers or the coats. So I went ahead, after sanding for a while, I started to break through, and I was like, something's wrong. So I went ahead and threw a guide coat on, a black guide coat, and when I did, it came right off with the 120. So what I'm trying to get at is, they say that you have to sand all the pink out. I don't think so. I don't think that's the way it works. There is like a dark film of pink on it to start with, and I think that's what you got to sand off. So after doing it that way on here, and seeing it was a fail, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's straight, because I guide coated it with the 120, it went right off. I put 220 and got guide coated at 220, and it went right off. So the trunk lid is straight. But I will go ahead and I'm going to tape this all off, and I'm going to shoot 2 or 3 more coats on here and start from the beginning, now that I know how the product works. So after doing it that way, what I did was I blocked the whole car with 120, but I didn't sand all the pink off. I only sanded the dark pink off, if that makes sense. You see how this is dark, and then this is really light pink. See? So what I did is I sanded all the dark pink off, except for around here, because I want to tape that line off before I go wiping that line off. Because I did have to do some filler work right here on this edge, and I don't want to wipe the line out. This one I did go ahead and do, because there's no filler around it. Let's see, this one I did. There's no filler around it. And this one I didn't. The one tape it off, because it does have some filler in this area right in here. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully I got a nice, pretty straight car when this is all said and done. Because it has been a lot of work. The hood pretty much sanded right off. I'm not seeing any horrible lows anymore on it, so I'm working that way. So with that said, that was round 1, and let's see, it's 1 o'clock. I started out here probably, let's see, I'm gonna say about 10 o'clock. So 3 hours to sand the whole car with 120. So anyways, I will be guide coating with the powder, and I will be spraying some more on the trunk lid because I got 3/4 of a gallon left, and then I'll hit it all with the 220, 320, and then 400, and then I should be ready for base coat, clear coat the roof. Pow, it knocked right off with the 120. Everything's looking good. I did find a couple spots that I'm going to work on with filler just because, and then I'll have to, like right here, you can see it's got a little bit of a low here, and along this edge I want to work on that. And one little low right here that I want to work on, and a little bit of a low in this area here that I want to work on. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. It seems to be getting there. Alright, I'll get back with you on it. Update. So I was wrong again. I had said that you just need to knock that dark pink off and then you could go to the next stage. Nah. Nah, that ain't the way it works. So how I found that out was after sanding it, I went ahead and went to 220 on here, and I started realizing pretty quick that, and you see that, and that, yeah, that pink has to come off because them are actual lows. I didn't think they were. I thought they were just deeper in polyester primer, but no, that pink needs to come off of there, because if not, you're gonna have lows. But with that said, I mean, I've already went one round and knocked the whole tops of them off, and now I'm going over it a second time before I go to the 220, and you can see the difference between the pink and the gray. So I'm getting it all down to the gray. Got a little bit more to do in here, but anyways, like I said, I ain't no expert. I'm just Joe. And I'm just trying to figure this stuff out myself, so I'm not going to be teaching anybody nothing unless you watch my videos and learn from my mistakes. So, alright, Sandy. So after second guessing myself, and I do have a mask on, by the way, I went back over the sides with the 120 and basically got rid of the pink, the pink with the 120. Because like I was saying before in that last video, after hitting the 120 and just knocking the tops off like here, you see how how grainy that is. So if you try to hit that with the 220, it doesn't do anything to it. It's too hard for the 220 to do anything to that texture. So it has to be sanded out with the 120. More likely 180 is what it calls for, and I don't have no 180, so I'm going to do it this way with the 120, and it's turning out pretty good. I mean, I got maybe one or two cut throughs, which they're not real bad, like that there. And I believe what I'm going to have to do is just put some high build on top of this, and then sand the 220, and then the 400 or whatever. Yeah, a little bit more time, but like I said, I want it to be nice. Lines are nice and crispy. That's one good thing about this stuff. And both quarter panels are pretty much done. I mean, they're super nice. Both doors. This fender up here is pretty much done. I still have the top of this fender, the hood, and go over the roof one more time just to get rid of any of the pink texture. But pretty much there. Man, I am wore plumb out. My shoulders are killing me. It's a lot of sanding, dude. I've seen videos where the guys get tired of sanding and they break out the air file. And then they dig right back down to where they was and have to start over again, in my opinion. So I'm going to just keep doing it with the block. Ain't going to sissy out on it. I get her done. Alright, later. Alright, Saturday over here. Still working on this, of course. Got all the whole body sanded with the 120 grit and got rid of all that pink guide coat. I had a couple breakthroughs here and there, not too bad, just light little breakthrough. Let's see, so quarter panel, perfect. Roof, perfect. Trunk, gonna shoot another coat on. Quarter panel, perfect. Door, great. Little breakthrough there. Fixing a little dent that was right there. This quarter panel, good. Or fender, should I say, good. Hood, good. Had a couple breakthroughs on the hood here. Around them bolts, of course, it's all dented around here. I've hammered them down flat as I can. Here, here, here. But nothing on this side. Most of it was on that side, which is okay. Wasn't liking the way that this was feeling here. When I go across it, it felt like it had a drop off, and I'm afraid that was going to show up in the paint. So I went ahead and put a little bit more filler here, and I'm going to try to get this rounded off better without breaking into the metal. Other than that, let's see. That little area there needed some more work, some more love. That little area. And then when I was working on this here to try to get these two areas to fit, I ended up having to hammer this down a little bit, so it had a few little dents in through here. So I wanted to get that straight. Other than that, man, I think I'm pretty good. Yeah. I'm almost there. I would say another 3 or 4 days on this, then I should be finally ready for some base coat, clear coat. But I'll let you know. Night. Okay, so gave the bodywork a little bit of a break here, and pulled the gas tank out of storage, and it's only, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years old, maybe a little more, but it had started to rust around the surface, rust around the edges there. So I cleaned it all up, sanded it all down, got it as clean as I could, and then I painted Pour 15 on both sides of that lip. Let that dry. I went ahead and shot some paint on the bottom, and I want to do part of the top and the sides. Did get the transmission all cleaned up, wire brushed, sanded, and got paint on it. So that's where I'm at. Just kind of moving forward with a little bit of mechanical stuff. I'm getting ready to build me a transmission plate to be able to hook to my jack, so I can jack the transmission up and put it through that cross member, and then block it up where it's up in there so that I can get this drop in the engine bay. Alright, thought I'd let you know where I'm at. I'll get back with you. Alright, thought I'd show you where I'm at. Got the straps painted, transmission mount painted, the other straps under the car already. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I got this exhaust bracket sandblasted, and I don't want to get paint on the rubber and make it look stupid, so I'm going to probably just drop these down in some black oxide and just have this black oxide. I think that would be better than trying to paint it. But anyways, so I've never owned a transmission jack. I've always done it the hard way, but I ain't getting no younger. So this Evercraft, this is threaded. This area here is threaded, where a lot of them are not threaded. This one is. So anyway, so there's like a threaded bolt that goes down in here, and it seats so that this will still turn once it's seated. First I thought, you know, that should be like a 3/4 pipe thread. No. And then I thought, well, metric. So I tried metric. I tried every size. I went to the hardware store that's got every size bolt you can think of, and I could not find a bolt to fit in that or a pipe. So I did find a company that sells parts for Evercraft, and ordered me another bolt to go down in here. It's Allen keyed, so you can tighten it down with the Allen wrench. And then if you remember right, I built stands for my metal stretcher and shrinker, so that left part of the other part of the engine stand free to do whatever I want with. So that's what I done. So it kind of worked out pretty good, where I left this where it's adjustable, and then these will fit right over the top of one of the nuts, so I can adjust it to any transmission or pan I want to. I found a large washer and drilled an inch in the center here, and then threaded it, and then welded this. It's kind of ugly on this side, but it's not going to go nowhere, where I welded it actually on both sides, here, and on the opposite side. This is the 3/4 pipe I was talking about, and this is the weird ass Chinese thread that nobody has in the hardware stores at all. So it's some kind of shit they made up. Anyway, so like I said, I ordered a new one of these so that I can put it back on the plate back on my jack, and then welded it to this one to the 8 3/4 or the 3/4 here, and then in return my plate will thread onto the jack like so. And there you go. Now I got a transmission jack to bolt the transmission to, and my plan is to get a couple of short straps and weld one side of the strap here, like the ratchet part, on here and here, and then weld the hook on this side, so that I'll have a strap to go over to strap the transmission down to it. Alright, thought I'd show you what I was up to over here, because you gotta do what you gotta do to make shit work, and I don't want to lift that heavy son of a bitch up underneath this car by myself, so now I don't have to. So I'll get back with you on it. Like I said, I'm really concentrating on getting the engine and transmission bolted in to the car, get all this cleaned back up, and then let's get the motor and transmission bolted in. So that's where I'm at with it, just trucking away at it. Oh yeah, and then I know you guys saw it, but it's painted the smoke gray that I used on the rest of the suspension parts, and then I also did the same thing on the gas tank with the smoke gray, and then the straps to hold it in will be black. Alright, get back with you. Alright, just like that, I got a transmission jack. Just gotta saying these line up with whatever bolt you want them to line up to, and then I'll weld the straps to the transmission jack, and I'm pretty sure that's higher than I'll ever need to go with the transmission. But anyways, and there's that. Get back with you. Okay, ready to laugh at me? I'm laughing at myself. So that's the straps that I cleaned up earlier. And guess what? That's the ones that go to this car. This car's got a fuel cell, so I never had to use the brackets. These are the ones to this car, so I have to re-clean them. Here, this is the crazy part. I went all over. I went down in my basement. I went looking all through my rafters here, pulled every tote out, and I could not find them. I looked underneath there, underneath my other toolbox, looked behind the totes, pulled stuff off my engine over there and looked behind it. Dude, I looked everywhere. No, I didn't. I looked almost everywhere. And guess what? They were hanging right over here. They were hanging over here, and I walked past them like 10 times probably. So anyways, I'm gonna get them blasted and painted. I'm not mad about this because my other duster's sitting outside there, outside the window there. I have the gas tank out of it right now because the wheel well was rusted out, and I got a new wheel well to put in it, and it's got to be welded in yet, but these will fit it when that time comes. Okay, so I'm not mad, but I do have to clean up a hell of a mess. But alright, thought I'd let you know where I was at with this. Getting ready to start sandblasting these, and then look at that, got my transmission sitting in there with my handy dandy transmission jack that I put together, and I just got it on a strap right there for now. But moving on, getting ready to be putting that in here this weekend. I'm hoping it will go in with no bull crap, but you know how it is. Anything's possible through God, but Satan will attack you every moment and every part of the day. So, oh, and then if you look back in my other videos, there was oh look, I done lost them again. But the fuel pump gasket out of my kit was missing. I found it. It was underneath this heater. Alright, this is the way it goes. I'm out of here. Alright, so here's where I'm at with it. Getting this cleaned up, getting it ready to get the motor hoist out and try to get it in there. Put new bushings in the motor mounts, but I don't know if I told you guys before, but the new inserts, they don't fit worth a crap, and these are like $150 for a set. So what I done was just went ahead and stuck them in there and welded them in place. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to spend $150 on another set when I got it set, and just because them things didn't fit worth the crap ain't my problem. Welded in both sides, so they shouldn't go anywhere, and I went ahead and spread them out here as far as I could like they are from the factory. But alright, that's where I'm at, just getting them cleaned up so I can get them on the motor, so it can go in there, and I can get the transmission bolted up, and drivetrain will almost be done. Went ahead and got the tank in, the straps all cleaned up, and repainted. So when I do get the engine in, I got that ready to run distributor that I guess I just have to hook a hot and a ground and a coil to it, and it should be ready to fire up. That's why I wanted to go ahead and get the tank on, so that the fuel lines are all ran already. You know what I'm saying? So I'll have fuel, ignition, be able to kick the starter off and at least get the engine running and broke in. Get the new radiator in, and it's going to clear up space for me. That's my whole deal right now, is getting space cleared up, because without an engine here, and then I'll be able to clean this table off, and I'll have all this area over here to remove the fenders when it comes time, and put them on stands so that I can paint the fenders off the car. That way I can get this area and the door jambs and stuff all at the same time. That's my plan. Alright, get back with you. Alright. On the day's journey, it's single digit temperatures over here today. So my plan is, see, I got the hood bolts, front hood bolts loose, and the rear bolts loose, and took the front bolts out of the hinges so I could stand the hood up higher. That way it don't interfere, because I want to get that in there. So with that said, I'm going to bring out I got some old blankets that we don't use to lay over my fenders, so I don't touch or get anything oily. And of course going to use gloves, but I figured it would probably be a good idea while I got the engine out to go ahead and put the brackets on the brake lines and the fuel lines that are down in here, because once that engine gets in there, then we're going to be almost impossible to get to. I'm not saying impossible, but almost. But it's a lot easier to do it now while I got it like this. So anyways, that's where I'm at with it. I got to clean up some transmission bolts, and I got to clean up some motor mount bolts, and then I need to move this stuff out of here so I can get that set up. And I'm hoping that I don't have to move that, but I might have to, and if I do, it won't be that bad. I just got to unplug it, disconnect the exhaust pipe, and then I can move it. So it'll probably be easier for me to do that, because I think it'll probably be better to set the engine stand up on that side of the room and move the engine over here closer. That way it's already pointed this way, and I can just try to swing it in there. That's my plan. We'll see how that goes. But alright, as for body work and paint situation, the whole back of the car has been 220, and I still need to do 220 to the front. And after a little bit more research, I figured out that apparently you can seal this and then paint over it, or you can use 2K primer over the top of it, because Apparently, this is what I'm reading on the internet. The slick sand, you can seal it with epoxy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is what I'm seeing, that the slick sand, you can seal it with epoxy, but this 4-to-1 with the optics in it, they say you can't put epoxy over the top of this. I don't know. I'm just going with what they say on there. So apparently you can put 2K primer, which is less porous than this, and then you can use epoxy to seal your 2K. So that's my plan, is get this front half sanded with the 220 after getting the engine setting in here out of the way. And then once the front part's sanded with 220, I'm going to clean everything up again. Once everything's cleaned up, then I will shoot 2K primer on. And then once the 2K's on there, then I'll go ahead and go forward with the 320 and then the 400. I'll get back with you on that part of it. I've just kind of moved on from this stuff here for now, where, you know, it was months and months and months and months and months in sheet metal, and then it was months and months and months in filler work, and now it's turning into a couple months in the primer stage of everything. But you know, I just got shit out here in the way now that I need to get out of the way, and for me to get it out of the way, I need to start assembling some stuff. So once that's assembled, or the engine's in there and bolted to the transmission, I'll be able to take the radiator and put it in, and probably tape it all off where I don't get nothing on it, and then put it in after it's all taped up. Transmission can go where the engine's setting, and I can stand it up on its end where it's not taking up a bunch of room. So alright, let me get some bolts clean and engine stand out, and I'll get back with you on it. Alright, so this is where I'm at with it. I was telling you guys I was getting bored with the body work, and I still got to do the front, the doors, the fenders, the hood, and 220, and then I will shoot some 2K primer and sand the 2K primer to 320 and 400, and then I will seal it with the epoxy, and I'm going to use the same brand, so I'll use the high tech for the high build, and then I'll use the high tech also for the seal. So anyways, engine is in. Still have to tighten up the motor mounts, and there's a few odds and ends that have to be done. Have to put the thermostat housing and thermostat in. I got to buy nipples for the heater core hoses, and I've already pumped the engine up once, but I want to pull the valve covers and turn the engine and make sure that I'm getting oil to the top. Went ahead and mounted the lines in there, got them mounted down, little brackets. So pulled the radiator out of the box, and you can see I got it all cardboard off and taped up so it doesn't get any overspray or damage or anything on it, because that's That's a Glen Ray radiator, and he specially built this 28-inch radiator for this car, and good luck finding them. That's all I can say. Thank God he was able to, he had the brackets already, so he, in the tank, so he was able to hook me up with the correct numbers on the radiator. But anyway, so like I said, bored with the bodywork, so moving on to some mechanical stuff. And I got my exhaust laying under there. Went ahead and raised the car up a little bit further, so it's comfortable for me under there. I still got to blow all the dirt and dust out from underneath there, but that will be my next move, is getting this under there and tacking it in place, tacking the connections, so that I'll be able to pull it out, and they'll probably be clamped at the mufflers, so that I can pull it apart if I ever have to. But other than that, like I said, I want to get the exhaust on, and then I got a few things up here to do. I got that ready to run distributor, so it should just need a hot in the ground and a coil. Fuel cell is under the car, so my fuel tank is under the car. It just needs all hooked up, and drive shaft in, and moving on, trying to do some different stuff and take care of some stuff and get some stuff out of the way, because it's got to be done sooner or later. So anyways, just thought I'd show you guys where I was at. I'm going to put this video out Saturday, and if you like, I'm going to put another video out showing the installation of the engine and the transmission. Alright, bye bye.